Hi guys, welcome back. This is a Property Coaching Network podcast, episode 21. I'm joined by Cammy Smith today, professional football player still? Or is it semi-pro?
Semi-pro, whatever you want to call it.
Semi-pro, professional football player turned property investor. So the podcast today it's not a story about football millions turned into property wealth overnight. This is sort of longevity, discipline, and probably a fair bit of uncertainty. But most of all, planning a life after football, which I think a lot of players probably don't do, and we'll talk about that, Cammy. So you've carved out obviously a really good football career, lower leagues, SPL, I believe as well. Mm-hmm. You've stayed in the game, you've adapted, and you've built your property business alongside that as well, which is really impressive. You became a dad as well, so quite a lot to sort of get into in this one. So, for anyone listening who doesn't know you, Cammy, how would you explain your journey in football and now into property so far?
So yeah, the football career has been a roller coaster. From Aberdeen, started out at Aberdeen.
Yeah.
I made my debut at 16, and then I think I went on to play 95 games at Aberdeen in the Premier League. So a bit annoying. I never made in 5 more to get the 100, right. But no, good learning experience. You know, like. It teaches you a lot more than people think. Football, it grounds you. You're dealing with managers that are like very, very strong opinionated, senior professionals, under pressure, all that type of stuff. So it's a good grounding. But the career kind of never pans out the way you kind of want. Without being arrogant or that, at 16 I was really at the top of my game. I was well sought after. I had opportunities to go to England and one or two things, but I decided to stay at Aberdeen, and then kind of it goes from there. And then that's how I ended up in Glasgow. I moved from Aberdeen to St Mirren in 2017, and then I came down here and met my partner now, and I've kind of been down there since, and obviously since then been at different clubs, been abroad.
No.
So it's been a roller coaster, yeah, highs and lows that it throws at you, and you just have to kind of deal with it and take it as it comes.
Actually, we'll probably speak a wee bit about that, because Aberdeen 2011 to 17, quite a long time actually.
Yeah.
For sort of, because you tend to jump about.
It was. I came through the youth there, obviously, but like you say, went full time at 2011, and was there for a good while. Great club in that, so it was good.
So there, it was St Mirren, Dundee United, Ayr, Indy 11.
That was America.
Oh, is that right? Okay,
so,
Partick Thistle, Morecambe, now Peterhead.
Yeah.
So, like, what is that actually like then? I'm quite interested in just like the life, because obviously been into football all your life. What's that like? The sort of clubs jumping about that much. You get friends, you get family, like settling in hotels and stuff like that. Like, explain a bit of that.
Yeah, no, it's not what everybody thinks it is a lot of the time, especially at that level. You know, don't get me wrong, Aberdeen, St Mirren, Dundee United, they're all Premier League clubs. They're all, you know, big clubs. You can earn a good living out of it. But I remember when I left Aberdeen, I was 21 maybe, and I drove down to Paisley, and I've been to Paisley to play football, but I'd never lived in Paisley, and I got put up in the Normandy Hotel in Paisley myself, and it was an eye-opener.
He's not laughing, because that hotel's like, I've been to a Christmas party there before.
Aye, so I got put up there for about a week or two until I got an apartment sorted, and you know, you move away, and I was myself, first time moving away from home, but I settled in really quickly. But it's, like you say, it's hotel rooms, families, up, you know, packing up. If you've got kids, you need to move them out of school. So a lot comes with it. It's a lot of sacrifice and discipline. But it is worth it. It's the best job in the world.
Better than property.
Aye. But no, the property stuff's obviously brilliant, which we'll touch on. But no, the football career it's good, and I still enjoy it now, you know. And then obviously moving down to England, had my wee boy, came back up the road. But I've always been planning for this, you know, and I was never naive enough to know that I'm going to make millions, and I knew I had to kind of plan.
So that's interesting, because obviously you felt like you're in your prime and your peak at 16. You had the opportunities, and then Aberdeen was the sort of chosen club. So why Aberdeen, and why not the potentially bigger and better opportunities? What made you pick them, and how come you stayed so long and didn't get more opportunities in that than the years you were there?
So, I mean, they came to me with a 3-year deal when I was 15 years old, so I was still in school. So, I mean, you know what, like when you're at school, you think, you know, and I was playing football, I was doing well, you think you're the boy, really. And I had that 3 year. It was probably the worst, not the worst thing, but I knew in 4th year when all my exams were coming that I had a 3 year deal professional lined up at the end of it, so I didn't care about school.
Aye.
Went into that, and then after a year they ripped it up. They gave me another 3 year deal on improved terms. After about 18 months they ripped that up, and I got another 3 year deal on improved terms. So my money was jumping quick. And at 18 years old I bought a 3-bedroom house, and it was probably the worst thing I've done, but a big learning thing, you know. So Aberdeen was a club I supported as a boy. I was from there, my family are from there. And I knew I was going to get opportunity. I was close, like even at 16 years old, I knew I could break in, and I got my debut. And to be fair, I did start going to play. And then obviously, over time, you know, the club started really progressing and bringing in really good players. I know this isn't a football podcast, so like Kenny McLean and Ryan Jack, all these boys were there, so it was hard to break in. So I felt the time was right to move to St Mirren.
So see that time with Ryan Jack and the likes coming through.
Yeah.
Is there an obvious like difference in level between like even like yourself and players like that? Can you see it? Can you see like I'm just not as good as him type thing?
I think at that age, I definitely had the confidence and the belief. It was just more the games. Like he was playing every week, and I'm maybe playing 20 minutes coming on, and you need games, you know.
Aye.
We signed Barry Robson, who'd played in the Champions League for Celtic, played at Middlesbrough, all these good levels. Willow Flood came in, Peter Pollitt was flying. So we had real strong competition. The wages were going up. They were attracting better players from, you know, all over the world, and it was difficult. So, like say, St Mirren were in the Championship League below, and it was the best thing I'd done. You know, I came down here, I grew up, moved away from home. Nobody knew me, and out that bubble. Aberdeen's a bubble, especially when you're playing for them. So, you know, I really enjoyed it and went on to win the league at St Mirren, got promoted with them, and again made good friends there.
So see when you're at Aberdeen, you don't need to answer this right, but this is what I'd be asking behind like, if I'm listening. What sort of at your peak and you're coming through and they're giving you these deals, what are you making a week?
Well, I was 18. Well, at 16 years old, when I was at school, they offered me 250 quid a week. That was my first one. So 15. After a year, that got ripped up, and I think I jumped from 250 to 600. And I was 17.
Aye.
And then it doubled again at 18. So, you know,
really good money for 18 years old.
Yeah, and you know, obviously there's the win bonuses and that.
Yeah.
Rangers were out the league at the time. So we finished fourth. No, we finished second 4 years in a row, sorry. We were in Europe. So there's always, you know, all these little things come into it. So I was staying at home. So, you know, I was never stupid, always kind of mum and dad, always had save and all that type of stuff. So, I mean, I was probably one of the lower end players, you know, like the top players would have been on, you know, 3-4 grand a week maybe at that time. But yeah, it's, you know, good money at the time.
Did you ever come up against Rangers or play against Celtic?
Aye, not for Aberdeen, but I've played Rangers for St Mirren and Dundee United, but not Aberdeen. It was Celtic all the time then, but obviously good clubs, good experience in that as well.
Aye. This is just a question that's came in my head there.
Aye.
Who's the worst SPL referee?
No, see, if you go on YouTube, right, you'll see a tackle on me. I think it was Willie Collum, and I just signed for Dundee United from St Mirren. And Paul McGinn, who I get on with, it's Stephen and John McGinn's brother.
Aye.
He's elbowed me like full on like assault. If you get that on the street, it's a full on assault. And I think he booked him, but it was a red card all day. It was, but you know, they're all right.
That's mad you say that, because see, when I was at school, it was in 5th year, and we were a really good school team. We played in the cup final. Willie Collum, it was a semi-final of the league, school league. Willie Collum comes back to referee. Well, used to come back to referee the games, but back in the day, like, so he would come back because that was his roots, and he liked to go back and referee, and he was an absolute prick.
I know they are.
Honestly, you couldn't even speak to him. You know, you're only, what age was that? 16, 17-year-old or something like that, and he was just so abrupt with you.
That's a problem. Like, a lot of them, there is one or two that but a lot of them just can put the hand up in your face, don't speak to me. It's like, you know, it's like a woman, don't speak to me type of thing, sort, like, you know what I mean? But I mean, they get good money. Right, good money.
Is that grand a game or something? Something.
But they get a lot of shite for it as well. So,
John Beaton actually goes to the gym that I go to there, that elation.
I see him kicking around the fort sometimes.
Yeah.
He's actually all right.
Seems
he's all right.
Fair, aye. So then, last season then, Peterhead, league winners, aye.
Yep.
So where does that sort of rank personally career highlights? I know you said you get promoted with St Mirren, so in terms of that, where's that rank and what is your sort of highlights?
Yeah.
Because it's 44 appearances, 7 goals. So that's a key player.
Yeah. No, I've loved my time at Peterhead. It's seen as coming down the leagues, and I'm in the lower leagues now, but it's just the fact that property's probably maybe allowed me to make that decision easier. Before I was at Peterhead, I was at Morecambe in England, so I was away down there for a year when my partner was at home pregnant herself, so it was always a back up and down the road. And it kind of was the right time. I was just about to turn 29. I would have liked to probably stay full time for another 2-3 years, but so be it. It just happened at that point. I know the managers at Peterhead, and kind of explained it, wanted to get promoted, and we had to, signing a few good players, so went for it, and we did get promoted. So it doesn't really matter the level, like it was still, it felt just as good as when I won the league. I won the cup at Aberdeen when I was 18. I won the league at St Mirren, and then obviously I got promoted that, and it felt just as good. Obviously financially it's not the same, but the feeling, and like you say, I was a key player. I played every game when I was fit, so that feeling of being valued goes a long way, and this season we're still pushing to try and make playoffs as well, so it's been good.
Brilliant. What was there any, you talked about the big moves that was potential on the cards, was there ever any like standout moves that you could have made that you maybe should have made or fell through or whatnot?
I mean, hindsight's a great thing, but when I was under 16s, I was involved with the Scotland setup, so I was playing for Scotland under 16s, under 17s and all that type of stuff. So we're playing all these different countries. We played LA, played England, all these teams, and we played England in the Victory Shield. It was always on Sky Sports around about that time, and I had a good tournament in Blackburn. Rovers came and met my dad, spoke to my dad. I was 15 or 16 at the time, so they offered me a contract, the youth scholarship type of thing, but to go down, try progress. Showed my dad like the apartments where I'd be staying and all that, but that's a big move, at 15, 16 years old, to pack up and leave to go down to Blackburn.
Would that have been your family going as well then?
No, I would have been myself.
Was it? Right, okay.
Would have been myself. So facilities were unbelievable. I don't know if they were in the Premier League at the time or a Championship, but chose to stay at Aberdeen. There was always, when you're doing well, there's always one or two teams flirting with you, but that was the concrete offer that I had, and chose Aberdeen.
I suppose probably every football player will have that moment when they look back and they go, what if, you know what I mean?
All the time. Even like certain periods, like I think, should I stayed at St Mirren longer before I left, and should I have went to America, like all these things.
Aye. So was there any other standout highlights in your playing career?
My first goal for Aberdeen was amazing. Team I supported, it was up in Inverness, the way end was full, and I scored a last 5-10 minutes to go equaliser, and I ran into the crowd, and I've probably to this day never had a feeling like it. The adrenaline, and obviously my wee boy being born and all that's the best thing, but it was amazing. And obviously winning the leagues for St Mirren and Peterhead, all that's good, but there's so many lows that people don't see. It's just
that was my next question. What is the sort of lows, any major low points, or just is there consistent lows through the season? So describe a wee bit about that.
I remember, I was at St Mirren, I was flying, loved it, and then Dundee United actually came in and bought me. It wasn't for a lot of money, but went to Dundee United, they got new owners, and so I moved up to Dundee and went back and forth from here to see my partner and that, and I started off the season pretty well. I think was coming off the bench, but I was contributing, and then I think I went about 14 games not even making an appearance. Just training Monday to Friday. You're knocking your pan in day in, day out, going home, you're eating all the right things, you're sleeping, you're not seeing your mates, you're not going out partying, which I was 23, 24 at the time. Yeah. Boys at that age are doing. But again, didn't get a sniff for 14, 15, so that's about 3-4 months. So you can get down, confidence can go. So that's tough. People don't see that. You're chapping the manager's door and he's giving you bullshit answers. Like just blatantly lying.
So does all that sort of stuff happen in the higher levels? Because it happens. I've always just been an amateur player, and it still happens there, and it kind of filters through the team. Sometimes I felt like if you're not playing, you just don't feel part of the team, and you're almost not, and it's probably not done on purpose, but the other players don't kind of welcome you in as much. Is that all kind of the same stuff?
It's true. It's like even at Peterhead, like when you sign a player, they have to kind of earn the right to be respected in a way. It's like
100%,
you can't go in and, you know, you have.
I feel that is so true in a football team though.
Aye.
I feel like once you go in, you need to kind of earn
Aye.
your stripes type thing. Do you know what I mean? You
100%.
put some good performances in that.
100%. You need to come in and play. You need to contribute before you're kind of welcomed in. And it's not off the pitch, but so much you get a bit more respect. And me and my best mate who plays down in England, you know, we always kind of speak about football's the same. Like you're saying, amateur all the way up to the Premier League in England. It's the same. The biggest difference is the money. You know, the monies just go up and up and up, and all the politics that come with it and all the shite that comes with it is just the same. You know, it's just money. You know,
you watch some of the programs on Netflix and you're like,
aye,
just doing the same thing.
Yeah, no, it is.
You see it amateur,
even when you watch, like, you know, you hear stories from everyone, it is the same, but it's just more publicised, or bigger clubs, more pressure, and the finances are a lot different. So, aye, but there's just so many lows.
Aye. Any others that jump out? Or?
Injuries are difficult. I've been lucky, but I've had 2 hernias, you know, 2 operations on my hernias.
Do you feel mega out the team then, and you're just like, isolated a wee bit?
Aye, you're just in the gym every
day.
day.
The boys support you and like you get.
It's difficult because, you know, they're going out to train, you're going to the gym, separate ways, you know. It's not too bad. I've been lucky, you know, I haven't had serious injuries, but if you have a serious injury, then I can see that being tough. But just little things, you know, bad performances or.
But like after a bad performance, do you go home and don't speak to the missus and all that, or
I know
you eat you up, or do you just kind of put it to one side?
No, you definitely take it home with you. I think it's like even property business, you take that home with you. Like, you know, you're a business owner, you'll go home and I'm sure like your missus is thinking you're not even listening to me, like, and you're thinking, you know, it's like football or whatever, it's just natural. But I used to overthink it when I was younger, and you know, you're also on contracts. It's not like a job for life. So if you've got a 2-year contract and you're going to the last 6 months and you're not playing, and you've got 3 months and 4 months, you're thinking, I'm running out of contract, I'm not getting paid in 3-4 months. So you need to get the next one, you need to get back in the team. So there's loads of stuff to.
Do you start speaking to the agent at that point and saying, look, I'm playing here, or you know, you just need to start?
Aye, if you were, I mean, if you're going into your last year and you're not playing, I think you need to start. You know, you need to try to get back in the team, but you need to start saying like, I'm running out of contracts. You know, start seeing what's available for me, and that's what I've done that before. You know, that's how I ended up in America.
Do you get that with agents like a lot? Well, they're obviously not wanting a fee. There's a big thing about agents, isn't there, the amount of money they get and stuff like that. But do they start doing some dirty tactics and putting stuff out, putting feelers out when they shouldn't and stuff like that? Will that happen?
Yeah, of course. You know, I mean, again, higher up the ladder you go, you see stuff in the papers or whatever, and you just think an agent plotted that just to kind of ruffle feathers, you know, or, you know, it's negotiating, and that's helped me in the property. You know how to negotiate a bit better, because they can go to the club and say, well, I've got 2 offers from this team, and they might only have 1.
Really?
You know, like politics.
It's transferable, isn't it?
You know, so it's skills that you can take into property.
So 30-year-old now, so are you still motivated with the football?
Aye, more than ever.
Aye.
I really enjoy it, and I'm as hungry as ever, you know. Playing, like, I lost that spark at Morecambe. I was coming off the bench again, and then I was down there myself. I was staying in like a 1-bed flat the size of this room.
Right.
But I loved my time there, to be fair, but I just needed to get the love back for the game, and I came back, and no, I really, really enjoying it, and I'm really hungry to, you know, keep pushing. I want to play at least till I'm 35. So I'm out of contract actually in the summer, so hopefully get something sorted with Peterhead, and you know, it works. It suits my life at the moment. So
surely if you played 44 games last year, then it's just going to let you go.
I know, I'm speaking to them at the moment, to be fair.
Good.
So again, it's negotiating. So, but I'm just doing it myself. You know, I've had an agent my whole career, but
no bother.
I know how to do it myself, and at the level I'm at, like, I mean, I could easily get my agent in to do it, but I'm happy. You know, happy to do it myself and work something out.
So is there any other sort of stories, anything funny and outrageous in without naming names, or?
There's some mad stuff. Some mad stuff. That you watch Open Goal with Cy Ferry and that. So I can't remember who was on it, but they told the one when it was a Christmas present, like a hamper came in to Aberdeen, and one of the boys emptied the hamper and done a shit in it, and then wrapped it all back up. So it was like nothing had been done. And that was it. Everybody went away, and then the next day the boy said, because nothing was said about it, and then he says, what did you do with that hamper? It was an English lad, Wes was up, and he said, I just gave it to my neighbour. I'm an old lady next door, because I didn't want it. And I think, like, just it's one of them industries that, like, you're in a change room with 20 men. You know, anything. anything goes, some mad stuff, just pranks all the time, and
there was something like that happened even again, amateur football. This is years ago when I'd first went up to amateur for under 21s, is it? You go for the amateur for? Maybe 18s maybe, and like fish for a while and just like, these older guys and whatnot, and some of the stuff they would do, like we went into Newcastle and one of them baked a shite. Like Bruce actually put a shit in the oven and just as if it was just this normal shit like that. Do you know what I mean? It's
some
crazy
stuff. Just loads, like hiding people's cars, just cutting people's clothes, just childish stuff, like just big kids really. But
so what's the thing about the Aberdeen manager Craig Brown describing you as you play like Dennis Bergkamp but you're built like Joe Harper? I don't know who Joe Harper is.
He's an Aberdeen legend.
A legend, is he?
Just piled so much pressure on him as well. I mean, Craig Brown's obviously passed away now. Like Scotland manager and that last manager, I guess, a World Cup and that. So he was a legend. So he was my first manager with Archie Knox, and he was Alex Ferguson's assistant manager back in the day when Aberdeen, were champions. One of the best teams in Europe at the time. And then he went down to Man United with Fergie and was at Rangers and stuff. So the grounding with them two was like hard but good. And one day it was in the local paper in Aberdeen, and he said that, and all it did was like all the older players would just give him a bit of stick and take the piss a wee bit, because then everybody expected me to be amazing. He meant it in a good way, but I just said, that's what he said. I'm built like Joe Harper, who's stalking at play like this, and it was a load of shite, to be honest.
Were you quite close to him? But did he teach you a lot?
No, he was really good. He gave me my debut. Just little things like if we were playing Hibs away in Edinburgh, I'd say to me maybe on the Friday, I think you should tell your mum and dad to come tomorrow.
Oh, brilliant! Just
a heads up, you're playing there, or you're going to come on for half an hour. Get your mum and dad down or whatever. So he was really good that way. No, it was good.
Good. So, you see, who was it? Who was the sort of best manager you played under then?
Derek McInnes.
Really? Aye.
Or Jack Ross at St Mirren.
Can I imagine Derek McInnes being a right good manager? He's obviously been brilliant now with Hearts, isn't he?
Brilliant manager. Just man management, people skills, and I've learnt so much off them. It's the best mentors you can have. Like as managers, Jack Ross was the same at St Mirren. Just because they're dealing with players getting left out of the team. How do you speak to them? How do you manage them? And it was the same with McInnes for me. Like. And then if you're coming at the team and maybe message on a Friday night, like, right, get a good sleep, son. You're important tomorrow, and you're going to bed fucking, feeling amazing and ready for the game. And then, after the game, like, you were brilliant. Just little things, not like overly complicating it, just simplifying things. And them two were definitely. I've had some bad ones as well.
No, don't want any of them, but
some bad ones.
So, brilliant, mate. So, I was just going to touch on before we go into property, obviously Scotland caps as well, because you touched on that there. You're capped all the way to under 21s.
Yep.
You got one cap at under 21s, didn't you? So still really impressive, mate. So I take it confidence wise and sort of viewing yourself as a player, that it must have sort of raised your job,
as soon as you go into international, it really, especially when you're a young boy, all the agents are after you, all the clubs are looking at the next ones coming through, and the international scene's mad. Some of the teams you play, like when we played England, Luke Shaw was playing,
right?
And you don't at the time. He's a nobody, but you see what he's gone on to do. And like Loftus Cheek, who's I think he's over.
Were they standouts then?
Loftus Cheek was purely just because the size of him and all that, but some of them, no, like you used to come across like these wee guys from France, but then all of a sudden, 10 years down the line, they're massive, million, and you just think.
Any you can name? Any you remember?
The England ones were Loftus Cheek, Luke Shaw, Callum Chambers. He went on to play for Arsenal. He got bought for like 20 million or something. It's mad. The boy that plays Ahmed, he was at PSG. Plays for France as well. Afro boy, I can't even remember his name. He played for France. Loads. Even in our own team though, like my younger ages, it was who's done well. John Suter, who's at Rangers. I played with John quite a lot from the younger ages. I've had a few games with John McGinn when I was playing up.
See, he's another guy. Just seems like just pure sound. Like you would enjoy going a night out with John McGinn, didn't he?
I don't know John as well as his two brothers. I know Stephen really well. He was my captain when I was at St Mirren.
Right.
And I know Paul. He was at St Mirren as well. And just down to earth normal people. Clydebank, just grounded, and that's what you find. Most of them, like when it comes to football, most footballers are grounded, normal people.
Yeah.
You know.
Was there ever a chance of the senior team?
No.
Nah,
No,
was there?
no, nowhere near it.
No.
No.
So, obviously, you've done the wise thing. Obviously, there has to be something after football.
Yeah.
So when did property first sort of come on the radar as like, this is what I'm going to move into for after football?
It was when I came back from America. So my contract ran out with Dundee United. I went on loan to Ayr United. And I was at that crossroads. I'd been in Scotland playing for like 9 years, and I need something different. And my agent phoned me and he just said, I've got an offer from the league below, like the top league in America. Do you want to go out? And it was
MLS?
It was the league below MLS, so it was
Right,
the USL,
sorry,
so it was
right,
like their Scottish Championship.
Right.
Scottish manager, 2-year contract, but it was like April 2021, so it was like in the middle of COVID, so it was difficult. I had to go to Poland for a week myself,
Right.
like basically isolate, get a visa, move over there. Went over to America. My partner couldn't come over until God knows how long. I was away for 2-3 months myself before she came over, and then she came over for a bit, and then I was there for 6 months maybe. And then we decided like we couldn't settle. It was a lot because America's obviously the size of the country. I'd leave on a Friday morning and won't get home until Sunday night to play a game, and she'd be left in a apartment herself.
Yeah.
Nobody around there, so it was difficult. But then I came home, signed for Partick Thistle, and that's when I think I was 26, and did Paul McFadden's online course.
Right.
And I thought I just need to do it, but he broke it down on a board. If you buy 10 properties, you get all money out, 250. I thought, yeah, it's easy. I'll just do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's when I thought, going back, I bought a property when I was younger, and I always knew, because older players were always like getting a property, and I always thought, but properly it was then 26.
So one of the questions probably further down the line, but the older players seem getting into property. Is there somebody advising you throughout the time? Are do the older players have advisors of what to do with their money? Because is property the advice for football players to get your money into assets and whatnot, or is it not?
I think it's each their own. Each player, it'll be like any office work. Each will have their own little team or advisors, financial advisor, agents, whoever, they'll advise them. But the club captain at the time said to me after I signed a deal at 17, 18, he said, kind of don't waste it. Like, you should try to get on the property ladder, and it always stuck with me.
Right.
So I just thought, well, buy a property then. But obviously down the line I knew there's different ways you can buy and different strategies and all that you can do. So it's, some people will tell you to do some stocks and shares, the next person will tell you property, but nobody's advising you as a club. It's right. Your agent maybe will put you in touch with somebody, but I always feel that everybody's got their best interests at heart. There's always, they might think, get a wee backhander for somebody to point you in the right direction to go there, so you don't know who you can trust as well.
Yeah. So see, when you started sort of getting into property, was it one of the ones, obviously the Paul online course, and you just started getting that bug, started getting into a wee bit more and more, or did you kind of jump into it head first?
So I did I watched all of his videos online. I was just renting a wee flat when we came back in Steps, and I just used to sit and watch them at night, and the way he broke it down, it seemed so like, that's doable. Like, if you want to earn £3,000 a month and replace your income or whatever, like, do this, do that. And I was like, and then I did that, and then I just thought, right, I'll go buy, and then I did a 1-day course in Aberdeen, in person, just a 1-day thing. Again, learnt a bit off that, which was good. And then I don't think you really truly know what you're getting into until you start doing it. Even your first few, you're a bit, until you really start.
Everybody says that.
Aye. And going back, I do education again. I think people, obviously, now I'm in the industry and that, I know a lot of people give it a bad name, but I think it's important if you're getting off the right person. It's not about the course, it's the person you're learning from, and if the person's sound, and it's worth it. Yeah, it's worth it 100%.
Aye. So was it more difficult? See, when you get into property, you're obviously still playing football. You're looking for this future exit, essentially. Was there ever times where you thought, this is much harder than what Paul makes it out on the board, and like, is this actually for me? Should I look at anything else? Was there any doubts there?
Yeah, a wee bit. It was the fees and that, and it was like, it's a fee for breathing in property. You know what I mean? Like, you go solicitor, broker, lender, refurbs. It was just like, and I was thinking, I remember one of the ones earlier I did, it was a HMO in Aberdeen, and I was on a bridge, but I didn't have a portfolio to support the monthly payment, so I was getting paid from football because I was still full time at the time,
Yeah.
paying my own mortgage, my own house, my own living expenses, plus I think it was like a £900 bridge. And I thought, fucking hell, like money's just going out the door here. Until I got off that bridge and seen the cash flow coming in, and then obviously, I remember my broker saying to me at the time, like, once you get 4, 5, 6, you'll start seeing the cash flow build up, and you can start supporting it a bit more. And he was right, but it's definitely harder than people make out. It's
Yeah.
not as simple, and I don't think from scratch just building a portfolio is the be all and end all. You know, a lot of people is like, right, get buy-to-lets and go, but you know, if somebody said, I'll go back and do it again, I don't know. Like, I'd be more picky with the stock I bought.
But me and Alex Anderson, the last podcast we're talking about, I do talk about that quite a lot with people. It's like the sort of vanity metric a wee bit, like how many buy-to-lets you got. Everyone always asks that first, don't they? How many buy-to-lets you got, rather than how much money you made with flips or
Yeah,
whatever
even
else.
the value of your portfolio as well. Nobody says, like, I mean,
Aye.
it doesn't matter. It's nobody's business. Some people want to say, but somebody might have 50 properties, but the valuations are, you know, really low end stock, or somebody might have 20, but the good end stock. And I'd rather have the good end stock or whatever, and the higher valuation, more equity, less debt, whatever. You know, so there's so many ways to measure it, I think.
Of course, that's the thing. It's a £1 million, £2 million portfolio, but if you're up to your eyeballs and 85% or whatever, then it's you don't own that much of it, you know.
No,
So
100%.
but yeah, it seems like a no-brainer. Obviously, Ryan Christie, do you know Ryan Christie? He's went on to push onto that big portfolio.
He does a lot.
There's a few others,
Yeah, him, Stuart Armstrong do it together.
Do
but again, he's probably on about 50 grand a week. But no, again, I know of him. Yeah, he's a sensible guy. Obviously, plays in the Scotland national team, so he buys stuff down here and buys in Aberdeen and that as well. Yeah, I've never done stuff with him though. No, I've never done stuff with him. I've never like sourced or that.
So, is there any sort of early mistakes, early right lessons that you thought, oh, made a booby there?
I was probably just in too much of a hurry. Like, because again, it was a race against the clock with football. A year left in your contract. What's the next contract going to look like? Because your money's always changing. 1 minute it's good, next minute it's not so good. So it was always like, right, let's just build. Let's replace my football income. You know, it was always right, let's get £4 a month. Let's aim for £4 a month cash flow from a portfolio as quick as I can. But because it was maybe as quick as I can, I never took 1 or 2 deals off a sourcer in Aberdeen, and I've still got them now, and they've always been rented. It's good areas, cash flow, but it's like I was just saying to hand them out there, like, how do you exit 1-bedroom attic flats or 1-bedroom top floor flats? You know, like, the numbers in that are good, but I think everyone says think long term, but that is thinking long term.
Still can't.
How do you exit a 1-bedroom basement flat? You know, it's
there
is obviously ways you can bunch them up in portfolios and sell them off in 6s or whatever, but so now I'm obviously more experienced doing it for the last 3.5 years. I'm much more picky in Aberdeen, essentially. I know the areas and that. I'm much more picky of what I take and what I don't take.
Yeah. So just getting into your property journey career, if you like now. So what's the main property businesses you're focusing on? What are you building? What would you say is your main business?
Buying for myself.
Right.
Mainly.
You know, so that's number one thing.
Yeah.
How can I buy for myself? And then what's next?
Yeah. Mainly I still want to buy. I've still got a good few properties now. It's cash flow nicely, but I still want to buy a good few more. I'm not bothered about having X amount of properties. I don't have a goal to reach. It's more like if a good deal comes up and I like the property and it's a good location, all that type of stuff, and it fits what I'm trying to do, then I'll do it. And then if not, I'll source on. Before I don't know if I wasn't confident of sourcing, but I just didn't source. I just concentrated on football and bought. But then the last probably year, 18 months, 2 years maybe, I've thought, right, if I'm not doing it, I'll monetize it and I'll source it, which has been probably a game changer as well. And then
so you have went down the sourcing route then?
Aye, massively. To be fair, in the last 2 years probably. You know, even when I was down in England, I'd be getting a lead or whatever just through online or an agent or whatever, and I'd get my brother out to view it, get one of my mates who are in the city to view it, or if it was in Glasgow, get somebody to have a look and just co-source. I've leaned on that a lot because I've not always been here, just to try and monetize it.
100%.
I did raise finance, and I thought, right, I bought a portfolio, tied up a lot of money. So how do I pay these back? You know, I started my own pot, tied up a lot of that. So you know, there's so many different things that I thought at the start I didn't think of, but as you go, you just kind of learn. And right, I'm tying up money there. How do how do I fund that investor back? Or, you know, I've started with this pot and I've bought 10 and I've left 10 grand in each deal, so I've lost that, you know.
Yeah.
So loads of different ways, but main goal is buy for myself. If I can't buy, I've got 3 or 4 guys that I work with. Mainly I go to them first, always.
So is that from your network in football then? Because I've always thought, we've had obviously chats before about, I felt like you've got some opportunity, obviously with your network being in football and people you know, they've got money, to have that small group of buyers, investors.
Yeah, so one or two of them. I've did a handful of footballers. But again, I don't, you know, it doesn't put me up or down if it's to a bin man or to a footballer.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
some people love it, and it's like, because I'm a footballer, or I have been, they're just, like I say, it's just normal people.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make a difference if I sell a deal to whoever and I make money, I don't care who it goes to. But I always go to my, you know, a wee group that I'm close with, who've helped me as well. And then if they can do it, they do it, and if not, then we see who else is available. But I always try, if I'm sourcing it, something that I would buy, or like, you know, stock that I would never try source on a shite deal, like, or like not a shite deal, but like a shite property in a shite location. I think it's important, you know, and try help people as well, you know, like put them in touch with trades, solicitors, brokers for no extra, you know, just help them along the way if they need. But sourcing's been good, and then obviously venturing to try flips. I want to do more flips now as well.
What would you say then in terms of buying per month and sourcing per month? Like, what's your sort of, how many you doing, and what's the sort of return and whatnot?
Last year about 10.
Right.
Last year about 10. So
how many is that you've got in your own portfolio now?
25.
Have you? Brilliant.
25 in my own portfolio, but again, I would get rid of a few of them if I could. Not loads of them, but 1 or 2 of them to get a bit of money out of them, to then maybe use that money better elsewhere.
Is that a mixture of buy-to-let, HMO, and SA?
I've got 3 SAs and 2 HMOs. I've got a cracker of a HMO in Aberdeen. It was the best deal I've done.
Tell us about it.
I was at Morecambe, and my painter, he's old school, like really old school, but he's a great guy, and he looks out for me, you know. And he phoned me and he just said, I've got a woman looking to sell in Aberdeen. It's near Pittodrie, really good uni area. And he said it's fucked. And I said, right, okay. So I didn't have any information on that other than the address. And I said to her, right, I'll give her 35 grand. I don't know why I said 35 grand, but I was in my flat in Morecambe bored. And I spoke to her, like I got her direct, and she just went, oh, can you not do, she said something like, can you not do 45 or something? And I was like, I said, no, right, I'll give you 37. And she went, right, deal. And she went, what about the 1 bedroom next to it? And I went, I'll give you 37 for that too. And she went, okay, deal. So I got the 2 of them. So I got a 4-bed HMO for 37 grand, and then a 1 bedroom for 37 grand. So but the 1 bed was 37, spent 20, refinanced it 70. Cash flow's all right. And then the HMO got for 37, we spent 32 and refinanced it like 150. Brilliant. So it was like, that was obviously, I'm still got that now. Like it's 1,800 a month rent, you know, 450 a room. So Aberdeen does have its place, you know. Everyone speaks about Aberdeen, and I'm lucky, like I know the areas and where to touch and where to not touch. There won't be capital growth in that one.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
you hardly need that after.
No, I was all money out plus whatever it was, but it's just a good cash flow one, you know.
See, that's the thing with Aberdeen. I nearly started buying in Aberdeen a few years ago, but I just didn't. I looked into it and I thought, no, it's just no for me. But I feel like if you know the area, you know the streets.
Yeah.
So I think one street, you know, they say a quarter mile, don't you? And a quarter mile in Aberdeen can take you some dodgy places, I think. So
Aberdeen was just, when I first bought in 2015, when I bought like this house that I went to move into, it was flying. The oil and gas industry was flying.
Yeah.
And I think bar London, it was probably the most expensive place in the UK for rent and for buying. And then it had this massive crash, and I didn't understand it at the time. And then now it's like, you know, you still get stuff like, we'll touch on it. I bought a portfolio and I sourced a portfolio, but that's 6 West End properties that I would be able to sell, I think. You know, I either rent well and it's good stock, and then my other ones in like places like Union Grove, Rosemount, you get these areas that are good. And then you get ones, you know, there's a place for them, you know what I mean? You can buy them cheap and they still yield well and stuff like that. So there is a place but personally, I wouldn't buy certain things in Aberdeen, you know. But it's the same in Glasgow, I'm sure.
So what is the buying criteria for Aberdeen then? Because see loads of deals that I see, home reports are for 2024, and like you're like, right, so what is the actual value here? Then you start doing comparables, and then you almost can't believe the comparables because you don't know if things are inflated, if things are, it's just difficult to work out. So see, if somebody's interested in buying in Aberdeen, what can you tell them? What sort of advice when they're doing their due diligence, doing their comparables, what to look out for? What would you tell somebody?
It is so hard. Just yesterday, Pete phoned me, so I do quite a stuff with Pete. And he said, I've got one. He said, one sold for 115 in the block, so it's a good comparable. And I went on and had a look, and then we were on the phone at the time, and I said, but there's one on home reported last month for 90 grand. Exact same size, exact same. So it's like, where do you... It is hard. It is, like down here, it's probably a lot more easier. Like my Scotbride ones, there's a comp next door for 155. So straight away, that's my comp. Aberdeen, it's like... A lot of it is local knowledge, I think.
Right.
A lot of it is like, your Bishop Briggs, you'll know Bishop Briggs off the back of your hand. A 3-bed there, that'll sell for that. So like, if somebody says to me, I've got a 1-bed in Rosemount, size, what spec, all that, roughly. And then obviously over time, I've built relationships with surveyors. So I've got 1 or 2 surveyors that I can you have done the same here.
Yeah.
I send it over to him, and he's pretty well high up in his company, and he's always bang on, That's why I actually agreed one this month in Aberdeen, and I was going to source it, but I sent it to him, and he told me the end value, and I was like, you sure? And he went, aye. And I went, right, I'll keep it to myself, because I had the end value at 90, and he said, no, 100. And I said, are you sure? And I double checked with him, and he said 100. He said, even on a bad day, you're getting 100 for that. So I've taken it for myself.
Right.
Good area. He's telling me 100. Needs a refurb. It's only a 1-bedroom, but again, it's good location, good stock, building's good. So I'll take that. It'll cash flow well. It'll leave 7 grand in the deal or something. So that's one that I'll add.
Right.
So when you come back to your question about values in Aberdeen, honestly, it's like, because home reports, people say, oh, it's home reported last year at 90, so it's got to be worth 90, but it's not always the case. And I also think surveyors as well try play the game a wee bit. I'll downvalue him 10 grand, wee power trip or whatever. Because a lot of it is people skills. When I was down the road, I bought a 2-bedroom flat in Aberdeen, and it's a decent location, and I bought it for 77 grand, and I spent about 12 grand on it, and I wanted 110 in value. But I was away, so I got my dad to go around. And my dad knows how to speak to people and that, so I said to him, just butter up the surveyor a wee bit, say the right things, don't give too much information away. So my dad phoned me, he said, right, he said, fair, didn't really give much away at all, but I think you'll get your value. So that was it. Ewan, who was doing my stuff, phoned me like a week later, and he went, Cammy, that's been valued at 75 grand. And I was down there, and I was like, holy shit. I was like, 2 grand less than I bought it for. And I was like, how the fuck's that? Like, that was like my 5th or 6th deal.
Right.
And I was like, how? I was like, he'd obviously a bit more experience than me at the time. I was like, how's that possible? And he just went surveyor, and I went, I'm not taking that.
Yeah.
Like, that's like all money left in plus. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm not doing that. I couldn't do it. That would have halted my journey. So I was like, I can't do that. So change lender, different surveyor, and Dad went again, got 110.
Aye.
And
how
then,
can there be such a difference? Maybe 5 or 10 grand, you'd maybe say, right, but know that.
Yeah, he valued it less than I bought it for.
Aye.
And I spent money doing it up, put a new kitchen and all that. And I was like, how? It didn't make sense. But again, a lot of the time,
you never get a reason, don't you know?
No, but I also think as well, a lot of the time, they just didn't want to lend in it, maybe.
Aye, that's it.
They maybe just didn't like the building, they just didn't like the block or whatever. They just thought, I'm not lending in that.
The lenders that go out for, the values that go out for the lender are normally just the sort of same surveyors and that we use.
Aye.
But it's the lender's appetite to lend on that particular property at that particular time. A lot of the time, isn't it? It's not just what it's worth in comparables, it's just if they've got appetite to lend.
Yeah, and I learned a lot from that as well, because, obviously the broker helped me a lot with that, but it opened my eyes. I was like, I don't get this. But then it's just people. It was just a person. If somebody else came in, might have liked my dad. My dad might be an arsehole to the boy. You just don't know.
Do you always try and meet the surveyor on the reval? Yeah,
but now, I mean, Glasgow, I speak to 1 or 2, but I haven't nailed down 1 or 2 that I know, like, do you know what I mean? We know. But up the road, I've got 1 or 2 that I try to get on them, but I can't always get on them. But I try it, and I always run it by them first anyway. And I mean, Ewan's been on, and he says, there's people in Aberdeen that get the value all the time. Like, I get down values in Aberdeen. I think I got one 15 grand down value on a 2-bed. So there is down values happening all the time to everybody. And then also get values that go up, my portfolio that I did. I'll touch on that. I got a valuation. I sourced the exact same 6 to my best mate, and he got 40 grand more than me or whatever.
Really?
2 months down the line. So, it's a difficult one, Aberdeen.
Aye.
It is difficult, but you just need to run it by somebody that maybe knows.
I think
a
you
bit
just probably need to do a wee bit extra.
Yeah.
Like down here, I would look at comps, look at Rightmove,
Yeah.
normal, Rightmove back end, the best price guide.
Yeah.
Look at what's on the market.
Yeah.
Look at one survey, just old home reports that's maybe in the same postcode, and then your surveyors, and then sometimes even just estate agents they might have sold there recently. You know, if you see ones that have sold, you can phone them up, you can maybe ask what they went for, or you can kind of sort of pick their brains a wee bit that way. But I like just asking, because we are quite close with one particular surveyor, and just asking them and their other surveyors that's in that same company, you know, what do you think here?
Aye.
And it's like just having that verbal, even if it's a text message to say, I think you'll get 100 grand.
100%.
It just gives you that comfort in it.
100%. See, if I don't, this sounds stupid and it's maybe a bit slack from me, but see if I go to my surveyor and he tells me I don't need to look anywhere else, because if I look anywhere else, it just, but there's 10 grand less than you're saying, it just, you know, it clouds your head a wee bit. Whereas if you can just go to your one source, and you, especially if it's a person, it's a human being, it's telling you, because it is about humans, you know, if you can get that relationship and he's saying all this, I think you just go with it. And then if I used to think 10 grand down value, end of the day, like when I first started, I was like, oh no, like this is, but we were just speaking about, like, I'm happy leaving a bit more in the deal if it's the right property and all that type of stuff. So I don't think down values are the end of the world, unless you obviously need that to pay or whatever you've got going on.
Yeah.
But I think you can do a bit too much. You know, like you try source to somebody or whatever, and they say, oh, but I found a comp for this and I found a comp for that. And you know, there's comps for, it depends what you're looking at. You know, you could have 3 there, and if you're a positive person, you'll take the highest one. But if you're a doom and gloom, you'll take the negative one. But there's being realistic as well. So, but it's difficult. That is a thing everybody struggles with.
What do you look for in your deals now then? In terms of, like, people are fixated on all money out and whatnot, but what do you look for?
I've turned fussy, and like purely just because I had investors finance last year, and after I'd went portfolio, I tied up majority of it, so I had to get them paid back. So then I had no option, kind of. I couldn't take the deals that I was sourcing. I built my best mate's portfolio pretty much. I think I don't know how many he's bought. He's probably bought like 20 in the last year.
From you?
And I built it for him. He's down the road, so he can't, you know. But we've got a good relationship. He's helped me massively as well. So, and then my other best mate. So I would have taken majority of the stock I've given them. It's all like decent stuff. And there's been 1 or 2 ones that they've given me a bit of shit for, but they can't all, you know what I mean? I said to them, like, you've got really good ones and you've got ones that haven't always worked out. So, but in a deal, like, obviously the numbers, it is a numbers game, but I also think the property itself has to be decent. You know, location is important, and it's also gut feeling. You know, a lot of the time, you know, you get a feeling. You're human, so you get a feeling, aye, that'll do well, or in 10 years' time, I'll be able to sell that for X. And the exiting part of it is important for me as well, because I would like to maybe free up some capital at some point as well. So how do I get out of this as well? Like, can I leverage it and use it for 4 or 5 years, take the cash flow, and then move it on? So I think it's deal by deal basis. I don't have that set. I know you hear people saying, have a criteria and stick to it. If it's over 10 grand in the deal, don't do it. But I've never really, if I really like the deal and it's 12 grand left, and I'll do it.
I'm the exact same as you. I've not really got a set strict criteria. I mean, cash flow is my number one, always. And if I'm leaving money in for 2, 3, 4 years, sometimes I'm happy as long as I'm getting you £400 or £500 plus cash flow. So that sort of suits me. So in terms of sort of working with investors, then how have you found that, and you know, where have you kind of managed to source these investors from? Is it through social media and putting yourself out there? I don't think you do massive amounts of socials, do you?
No, I'm not massive on it, but there's a place for it, and I understand why. I do understand why, but again, I think there's a fine line with it. You know, like, and again, it's about the person. You know, how they come across, what they're saying, and all that, and like, you don't want to be too repetitive. Like, I put the odds thing up here and there, and every time I do it, I think I sound like a prick. You know what I mean? But you probably don't, and nobody's thinking that. Well, you'd like to think nobody's thinking it, because I know, like, so many people do deals on social media, scale their businesses off social media, so I totally get it. And like, in each their own, like, if they're making money and they're helping their family, then, you know, that's all that matters at the end of the day. So investors, was it 24 maybe, I got 2 guys. One guy I used to play football with.
Right.
He's my letting agent now. He's kind of just slowly retiring now, but again, I've got a really good relationship with him. He gave me a chunk, paid him back anyway. So he does all my stuff for a really good rate. Obviously it's a percent VAT, just purely because we've got a good relationship again, and I was paying him interest as well, so worked both ways. And then another guy was just through somebody in Aberdeen I knew. He just said, I've got a guy who's looking to kind of loan his money out. Would you be interested? So did that. So I had 2 different ones. It was 100 grand in total.
Right.
And I've repaid them.
They win it again? Have they win it again?
They were wanting to, but I kind of said no. And now I just work with one.
Right, okay.
Just one guy who's we'll touch on, but
tell us about him then. So how did you meet him, and is he just a recurring investor constantly?
Yeah, so again,
look elsewhere?
No, I don't need to look elsewhere.
Right, okay.
My best mate was down south playing football. He's when he was at one of the clubs he was at, he got a good relationship with this business guy, but not a footballer or anything like that, and they took a liking to each other, became close. He's an older guy, but he kind of helped him out, mentored him little bits and pieces, and he was telling him what we were doing and what we're trying to do, and he loves it. He's all for it. He tells us to open up letting businesses, tells us to open mortgage broker. He's always pushing us to do this and do that. He lives down in the Midlands. And so the portfolio I sourced to my mate, it was a 600 grand purchase. And I'd just done mines 2 months before. And I bridged mines because I couldn't cash buy that.
Yeah.
Obviously, I didn't have investors' money. So I bridged it and exited it. I got a 795 end value. So bought 600, 795 end value. So 3 in one block, 3 in another block. The sellers had another 6, the exact same, 3 in one block, 3 in another. So I said, right, I'll take them for 600. And I sourced them to my mate. And he was thinking bridging. So I got him in touch with you and got all the bridging documents, and he sent it to the other guy who was potentially going to fund it. And he was looking at it, and he's old school, and he was looking at the bank's rates and all that. And he was going, no. He's like, you're not doing that. So he said, I'll fund it. So he funded the full 600 purchase for my mate in the cash bought within like 4 weeks. And so it was my mate who got that first. And I was thinking, fucking hell, like, he's just willing to give you, and it was a really good rate as well.
Yeah.
It wasn't the rates people are asking for. So he cash bought that 600. He got that refinanced at 815 or something like that. Paid him back in full, and the boy, he's buzzing. So he's thinking like, lads, I'm ready to go. Yeah. So we had we're not, I left school with no degree or not. We're not book smart or nothing like that. And we were on a Zoom call, me, my mate, and him and his wife, and they're going through their finances, and they're saying like to us, right, we've got 400 for now. We've got 400 in April. We can give you 400 in February. We've got 600. I swear. And I'm in my house here, and he's down the road, and we're sitting smiling at each other. Like, what the fuck's going on here? So he says, like, what do you need? Like, what do you want? We can give you, and all that. And we're sitting there thinking, like, I'm not comfortable taking all that, and he definitely wasn't comfortable taking all that.
Yeah.
So I just thought of a figure, and I said, look, give me this, and I'll go to play with that, and I'll get to work with it. And for how long? And he kind of just said, look, we can't spend it for tax reasons and all that, so you go to work with that. My mate took the same. You go to work with that, and we'll go with that. If something comes up that you really fancy in the meantime, give us a shout. And that's where we're at. So we've both got a lump. It's not like people have raised more.
Yeah.
But the good thing is, you hear people can't fund deals. Like, we can fund pretty much, like, not of our own money.
Yeah.
But then other people, you start so I thought, right, I need to get myself out there and say we've got funds available, which we do. But then people start sending you left, right, and centre these deals, but the deals don't stack.
Yeah.
And it's not your money that you're using. And I said to my mate, like, they need to stack even more.
100%.
It's not because when it's your own money, it's your own money. But when you're using somebody else's money, like, it needs to make sense even more. We couldn't buy portfolios and leave like 300 grand in a portfolio and all that stupid stuff that people like, so they have to stack even more. But the good thing is, so we've hardly used bridging really. We've been cash buying.
It's really clever though, like, you're doing it that way, because it's easy just to go, oh, you just give me it all, and then put yourself under that pressure. But he's probably there anyway. Once you've got out to work and you know it's coming back and whatnot, you can probably go back to him again and again, can't you? So
no, it's been good, and he's a great guy. Like I say, he's always pushing us. He thinks it's mad that we've not opened up lettings and all that, but again, it doesn't bother us. We don't want to do that. the whole point of property was to kind of buy back a bit of time, and
Yeah.
after football, kind of be able to take my wee boy to school, go to the gym, and still do, still be involved in it, but not have that pressure or whatever. So it's working all right. I'm still using bridging. I'm on a bridging loan at the moment, but it's good because you can say, look, cash buy or whatever within 4 weeks or whatever you need to do if you need to move quickly. And like you say, he's got his own portfolio, I've got my own portfolio, but we've went and done a flip together, or we're in the middle of a flip, and we'll start in Aberdeen.
So it's just to ask you there, so flips and developments, and about them, have you done quite a few, or is it just mostly portfolio?
It's all been portfolio stuff and single stuff. So, but now we want to do some flips as well. So we've agreed a flip. Well, pre-Christmas we agreed a flip. A sourcer who I've done some stuff with in Aberdeen, co-sourced with him quite a few times. He brought one to us. I think it's a 4-bed detached house. So
In Aberdeen?
Yeah.
That'll sell okay? Because I know there's a bit of
I know, it's right next to the
flips
hospital.
Right.
It's right next to the hospital. It should sell. And there's enough in there, again, we've spoke about, even if we don't make what we're hoping to make, as long as we, worst case, clear our feet. I mean, it's time wasted and all that, but you walk out of it and you've got the investors' funds back then. But hopefully a good profit in that for us. And it should sell. Like, people don't think there's a market for flips in Aberdeen. Again, there is, but location and all that type of stuff. So we're actually just in the middle of, the boys are going in next week to get started. It's a decent size refurb, and the numbers are hopefully going to be good. But again, it's my first flip, so what I'm realising is so much money tied up. Waiting for it to come. It probably won't be done till Easter. Won't sell till May. The money won't be back till June. Started that at Christmas. 6 months with cash bought it.
It's the thing with flips, isn't it? I mean, it's the chunky money at the end, but it's
a long way. Yeah, so I've never done it, but I think if it sells in that, I'll like that, and I'll like seeing the process of taking it and all that. So
it's a pipeline thing again. I think a lot of property is pipeline.
Yeah.
It's like pipeline for deals, pipeline for flips. If you can get maybe 3 or 4 on the go consistently, and then you've got money landing consistently from flips, because it does take longer. And then if a buyer of you buying your flip pulls out, then it's another maybe 2-3 months before, do you know what I mean? So it can be, if you get investors' money, if you're on a bridge.
That's all this.
That's no.
No, I know.
Been affected yet with that, but it's
you need to keep thinking. Like, that's why I keep saying to myself, right, get another. So I'm looking for stuff now. I mean, I can't buy anything right now because the money that we've got is in the flip, and I'm doing a HMO or a potential flip, another one in Aberdeen, and I've got my one down here that's on the go. So I'm totally tied up at the moment, so I can't buy anything right now. But I know, time I agree something, it's in legals, I'll be ready to buy again. So I'm always looking. Yeah.
So end of 2024 became a dad. Aye. So how did you feel like that changed you at all, just in terms of getting out of football? When you do get out of football, getting into property, really making a proper go and making a business out of it, making a good living out of it. Do you feel like that had a mental impact?
I think it changes your perspective a wee bit. You've got to put him first.
Yeah.
You don't think about yourself first as much. I mean, you're a dad like many others are. It's a eye opener. Like, your life opens up massively, it changes massively, but obviously for the better. But you want to have time. We've had, like, I think I went away for 2 days in November, and I couldn't wait to get home to be with him. So it's like having that time. I'd hate to go away every day or have to work away or whatever. So that's a driver as well. Like, spend time being able to take him, the little things. Take him to school, all that type of stuff. So, and I hear people want to leave, their maybe assets to their kids and all that. I couldn't really care. He might not want to do any of that. Like, in 18 years, I might not even have them when he's grown up. So that's too far down the line to think. But short term, like, everything's for him. That's why I had to come home for him, and our life's changed. And my partner doesn't work full time now because so many changes happen, but for the better.
100%.
But it makes you grow up a wee bit as well. I thought I was mature enough, but even a bit more so. You know what I mean?
So, what would your advice be then to someone in sport, thinking football sport, thinking about a life after football or sport? What would your advice to them be?
Honestly, I think it depends on the person. And it's even with property, like, there's no right or wrong. You might only want, I know I've said there about location, but you might only want to buy the lower end stuff. The cash flow is unbelievable. And it just, there's no right or wrong. It's what suits you. So what you want out of life and what you want your life to look like. So if you want some time and you want to build a portfolio, I do think that can happen. You know, I think if you do it right, you can. Like footballers are used to going into training at 9, coming home at 2 or 1 o'clock or whatever, and that's a day done. Go for a coffee, you know, feet up. So it's a nice lifestyle.
Yeah.
So then to go and work offshore for a month and be it away offshore for a month or down the other side of the world for a month and then be at home at a month, like that's not, to me, any good. You know, regardless of the money, like I don't think you could pay me enough to do anything like that. So it depends what you want, but if you're starting in property, start young, you know, like start early, because if you can start at 18 and you're earning good contracts, like you've got, I know like we've all been there, but you've got 12 years before you're 30. Like,
see, that's one of my biggest regrets.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the ones I mentally wasn't there.
No,
Even at
of course.
25, I
Yeah.
probably mentally wasn't there.
Yeah.
I wasn't mentally there until I was like around about 30. But it's a hindsight regret. You know,
Yeah.
you just think, I wish I just started earlier.
Yeah, everyone, like you say, you've thought, everybody thinks, imagine I started it. Even like when I bought my first house at 18, I thought, imagine I started actually investing properly at 18 instead of just buying this stupid thing. You know what I mean? Like that capital, what I could have did with it or whatever. But if you're wanting to do property, like definitely learn off somebody that's like sound and relatable, like in that you can, doesn't like, social media is good, but there's some shite that goes on it and you just think like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
there was a guy like who's well known in the property industry, and after I started posting on LinkedIn, because I thought I'm going to get LinkedIn, and I actually prefer LinkedIn. There's more professionals on it, like agents, surveyors and all that. He messaged me, I come into the office and all that and have a chat. So I went in because I thought he's maybe offering me something here. Like I need to be open to what he's, you know, what he's offering me here, or if he's just been nosy or whatever. And he went in and he just was nosy. Like it was just pure nosy. What's your portfolio? What cash flow? Like all this type of stuff. And I just thought, like I left and I wouldn't have worked with a guy anyway. But I just thought to myself, like,
What a waste of time.
people are paying him and I wouldn't pay him purely because the way he was as a guy. So I think it's important you learn off of somebody you like or somebody you can actually relate to.
Yeah.
It's all about the person. You know, it's like you employing somebody. You're not going, if somebody, 2 people come here, you're going to employ somebody who's,
They just need to be the right fit.
aye, you know, and who you can, your gut feeling as well a lot of the time, you know.
But what do you think about then football players that say they earn 10, 20, 50 grand a week coming out of football? Like, they've not got money to last them the rest of their life, have they? So they still need to have a plan.
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I've never been in that situation, but I do think that, like, these boys that are earning, like, how much do you need, or you know what I mean? But I do think, like, these boys that are earning right good money, top of their game and all that, like, what do they do? What do they invest their money in? Like, because there's a guy down in Manchester, Christian Romero, that does, I don't know if you saw him online, he does the sourcing for footballers in around Manchester.
Right, I mean, just spoke about him before.
And I know 1 or 2 guys that have bought off him, you know, but he's getting, Manchester's booming and that, he's getting stuff like 3-bed terrace and it's leaving like 50 grand in. But a lot of these boys are on 15 grand a week and they're like, that's fine. You know, John Lumstrong that was at Rangers, he does it a lot with them. And so there is people doing it at different levels, like you mentioned Ryan Chris saying that earlier on. It's just the same, but again, numbers are bigger. You know.
So when football ends, what do you want to have built within your property business? Because you're talking maybe 5 years before it ends. So have you got a sort of goal in mind where you want to be then?
I'd like to cash flow a certain amount. You know, I'd like to have a certain amount of cash flow from my portfolio that I can pay myself a wage each month. That, you know, that's my main source. And then I want to source. I like the
Just
source.
keep sourcing.
I think I've seen you know, like, you know, you get your fee here and there or whatever, even if it's a co-source, it's good money coming in and it helps either fund your next deal or pay refurbs or whatever, you know, or you can bank it. So I don't know, to be honest. You know, I could professionalise things a bit more because I started with Pete, pitched the property a wee bit.
Yeah.
And we had a wee go at that and we never stuck out long enough, but it was just probably timings or our life in that. But Pete still does some sourcing now. Sorry. And we still co-source, you know, we did one last month for somebody and we're always on the phone and stuff like that. So I want, in 5 years, I want the portfolio to be a certain amount cash flowing, and I want the I still want to be sourcing. I still want to kind of grow my network, I suppose. You know.
Do you know what I always think? Because when I ask that question, you can see you going like that. I want to be sourcing it, and it's almost as if you're not even really sure, because you think that now, but 5 years time, think about what's happened in 3.5, 4 years since you've been doing it, 5 years since I've been doing it. If you know, if somebody thought I'd be sitting here on my own podcast, I'd be like, absolutely no chance. You know what I mean? So it's true. And the speed that this industry works and changes, and obviously you've got the budget announcements every year. You're just like, what is actually around the corner on a year basis?
It is a difficult question. I definitely want my cash flow needs. I mean, I'm close to hitting what I want to be at, but I probably need another 2 years. Like, because I don't buy like some people buy. You know, they're buying like 100 a year and all that. I don't do that. But if I can buy another good amount in the next 18 months, 2 years, my cash flow should be at a healthy amount. But you need to then be disciplined and say, well, I'm not wanting to double that, because you know, like, oh, I've hit this, I want to go next. You know, go next, and the goalposts always move. It is. That's probably what
always happens.
Goalposts always moving. But when are
actually content?
Yeah, when you ever happy, like when, because she's always saying to me, like, when you ever going to, like, you know, take from there? Because I don't really take from the portfolio or whatever, because I'm still learning from football. But I think that's a key thing as well, to like, sometimes enough is enough, like in terms of maybe the buying, because it is hard. Like, there's a lot of money going out all the time. But we'll see where that ends up. I want to buy more in Glasgow. Like I said, I started my ads. I've never did that, so we'll see how that goes. I want to buy more in Glasgow. If I can get, you know, handfuls down here, I'd be happy with that. And then the sourcing side of it as well. So, but yeah, it's, who knows what will happen. You know,
that's it. It's just keep going.
It's difficult.
What about football? Any plans once you did chuck the plane into coaching or anything?
I'm not sure. Maybe not anytime soon. But you need to go through your badges and all that.
You doing that?
No, I've not done it. You know, I don't think so. Again, because I've sacrificed since I was 15, 16 every weekend in my life. You know, like, you get told where to be, when to be, trips of pre-season. You can only go on holiday in June, all that type of stuff. So it would be like Christmases, and I've trained Christmas Day, like all that type of stuff. So if you go into coaching or management, you just do all that again. So it's like, I just think
you've done your time, and you've had your time.
The reason I did started property was because I wanted to buy some time back and kind of live on my own choices and stuff like that. So we'll see, but it's not easy. You know, it's not easy property, but you need to definitely stick at it as well and give it time to.
That's what I was going to say. So, like, what would your advice be to just anybody looking to get involved, just kind of get started? You mentioned there you need to just stick at it, the consistency thing. Everybody always seems to answer this the same as well, but what would your advice be to somebody new just getting in, wanting to get started?
You need to be resilient as well, you know, because it's, you know, if you go into a deal and think you're a way to get all your money out, and you end up leaving 20 grand or 25 grand, and you straight away you think, oh, what have I done? But you need to be resilient. You need to like have a good way about you as well, you know, like in terms of dealing with people, speaking to, because at the end of the day, you're speaking to professionals like solicitors and all that, who are, you know, clever people or whatever. So you need to have a good way about you. But give it time to try whatever you want to do. If it's build a portfolio, if it's just want to flip, sourcing or whatever. But I also think I should have did more of a bit of everything. At the start, I've just like, does it work as a buy-to-let?
Right.
Like, I think now I'm a bit more open to now, like, no, I want to flip. Like, I want to try flip 1 or 2 a year now. Like 100%, because it's good chunks, and it helps supplement the, you know, if you're tying up money in deals or paying people back, like I've said. So be open to, and being open. Like, before I was always like, I'm still a bit closed off with some things, but be open to working with people that you might not even know of. Like, you know, I've never knew each other. I've met so much people now through property, and did so many deals with people through property or whatever. And most people are out to try help you, or like are out to try make money in it as well. You know, like there is the odd people that do try shaft you and stuff like that, refurb guys or whatever. There is always that odd, but most people like be open to like bringing a deal to somebody to JV with them and splitting costs. You know, it's better than losing the deal like altogether. So I'm open, you know, open to doing that more as well.
I think that resilience is a right good one, by the way, because you're spot on. The amount of characters and people and professionals you deal with, and the amount of shit,
Yeah.
the amount of obstacles, stuff like that. If you've not got that sort of
Aye.
resilience in you
Yeah.
to push through, then it's just so easy just to go, oh, you know what, fuck this, I'm going to be back to my normal job or something, which a lot of people do, essentially, you know. So
100%. I think as well, suppose social media especially, you don't worry what other people are doing. I know it's hard to like, it's hard to think like, you know, for example, this month, oh, he's sourced 3 deals and I've done none, or he's bought 5 this year and I've only bought 1. Like, it's
a great point.
It doesn't really matter, you know, because his life or her life is irrelevant to you, you know.
And it's hard because I done it at the start, and I look, because I was so determined to make it work, and then when I seen other people, you know, going in, oh, look at this deal I've done, this deal I've done, and people probably done it to me, because I had quite a quick start, and I was doing a lot of deals, but I was always like, look what they're doing, and you know, comparing myself, you know, and it was just, it almost brings you down a bit.
Yeah, no, you get frustrated because you're so, I want to do well. It's you can say you can relate football and property a lot, because a lot of it is just like character and like your own personality and stuff. And you know, you see people all the time, like, I've done a flip, I've made 25 grand, and you think, no, I can't even get a flip, never mind, or I've sourced this, and you're thinking, I'm just getting no's all the time, or whatever. But it's time, somebody may be doing it 5, like, you know, I can't compare myself to you because you've been doing it longer, and you know, you've maybe strategy's been different, you've maybe been thinking, right, I'm doing flips. So it's like, I think you need to just focus on yourself and get a close little circle that you can trust as well. You know, I'm lucky that I've got an investor who, we don't even have an agreement with him. We haven't even signed anything. So see, if it sounds stupid, but see if we really wanted to, we could sail off and that would be it. But we'd never ever do that.
I say that. See, I've got a really close circle, but I've got a massive network. Got a really close, you know, probably 5, 6, 7 people in it that I could properly trust. Massive network of people I'll do deals with and everything else. So that's interesting.
I think the way I've been doing it, and the people that I've been doing it with or whatever, I think that is key. Like, have a handful close people that you think, and if a deal turns shit, like, they're not going to slaughter you. They know stuff like, you know, can happen, and then have an expansive, like you say, people that you can go to. And it's all people. At the end of the day, it's just all, and I think it's easier, like phone calls, I think it's easier getting in front of people. You know, it's like, at the start, it was always like, oh, email me for a call and I've got a 10-minute slot. And I'm like, fucking hell, give me 10 minutes. Like, give me some time, you know, like, and it's just meeting somebody, you know, and then it's like going in front of a business owner or a manager or whatever. You get a feeling for somebody. Once you sit and speak to them, you get a feeling for people, and your gut instinct's massive, you know.
That's what gets you deals as well, because it's like coming to people's level where they're in a bit of a situation, they've got a property, it's a burden, and how do you come to their level? And like you say, talking to the businessman in their office, and just come to their level and just being yourself, and just being that genuine person, you know.
So I think a lot of the time it can get complicated. People try to complicate it, and you can your head can get pulled in all directions. But I think if you just simplify things, and if you can help somebody, or you can do the deal or whatever it is, or you can move it on, do it. If not, you know, I've had a deal fall through this month. You know, we were trying to source it on. It was one of them, we said, like, everyone's probably done it, we said it's a cash buyer, and it wasn't a cash buyer, but it was bridging. But they didn't need to know that, you know what I mean? They could have completed in 4 weeks, but then as soon as this selling solicitor saw that it was bridging, they pulled out, you know. So again, maybe from our point, we should have just said, it's not got to be cash, but the deal still would have got done.
It was still complete quick.
So it's just, things go wrong in that. It's just what it is.
That's it. Brilliant, mate. That's been really insightful. Actually, really interesting. So have you got any shout outs you want to make, or anywhere you want people to get you or anything like that?
I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn. I don't even know my Instagram. Cameron Property, I think it is. But and if you know, we can speak, we can meet up for a coffee or whatever, and
you're out there to be contacted and what?
And I reach out to people. I message people all the time as well. Sometimes you don't get anything from it, and then the next time you know it comes with something. So I open to anything. Nice one, mate. Brilliant. Thanks very much. David. Thank you, Matt. Cheers, mate. So that was episode 21 of the Property Coaching Network podcast. Brilliant chat there with Cammy Smith, all about football, something I'm really interested in all my days. So it was really interesting to hear some of the sort of insights for the professional game, and then obviously he's jumped into property. So if you enjoyed that, let us know, drop us a comment. We've got loads more planned. Hopefully see you in the next one. Thanks very much, and click that button to subscribe. Cheers.